everyone, Adarsh here. So today we're gonna see how we can create a Spring MVC RESTful web services, and we're gonna secure it by using Spring Security custom token based authentication mechanism. But here, for displaying the data in whatever the data we are sending from the sending from the server, that will be wrapped inside the bean classes, and those beans are annotated with our own custom view annotations. So wherever I'll just keep those annotation, that property will be part of JSON. Sorry. So so let's jump into the code and see how it looks like. So first we'll go to the pom.xml first. So we have a standard group ID, artifact ID, version, packaging as a WAV file, name, URL, organizational tag, license tag, developers, repositories, configuration here, a bunch of repositories. Then we have a bunch of properties like project names, source code encoding, JDK version, Spring version. I'm using Spring 4.1.6 release, and Spring security version I'm using 4.0.1 release, and then Spring security tag is 4.0.1 release. So servlet is 2.5, Jackson I'm using 2.2.2, Hibernate I'm using the 4.1.10 final release, and JPA I'm using 1.0.1 final release, Hibernate validator 4.2.0 final, and then MySQL C3P0 validation, commons code, common slang, JUnit, SLF4J, and logback. We have a Spring core dependency here, followed by Spring context, Spring web, Spring web MVC, then followed by Spring security dependencies here like Spring security core, Spring security web, Spring security config, Spring security tag lab, and then we have a Jackson related API, Jackson core, Jackson data binding, Jackson annotation. Then servlet API, Joda API is basically for the time manipulations and all. Spring transaction, Spring ORM configuration, MySQL connector dependency, C3P0, Hibernate core, Hibernate C3P0, Hibernate EH cache, then Hibernate JPA dependency here, Hibernate validator we have, validator API we have here, common slang, commons code, JUnit, SLF4J, logback, and Google JSON API. Then we have a build tag where we have a war file name, output directory, resources configurations. Then we have a standard Maven plugins. We have standard Maven compiler plugin, and then we have a JT server plugin here. So let's once we get into the source SRC, we have a help directory where we have help.txt. We have a main inside that main we have a Java, we have a resources, and we have a web app. Inside test, I don't have anything, I have not created any test cases for this application because I'm gonna show you manually by using testing from the Postman. So once we get into the web app, in the web app we have a static resources where we have a CSS, bootstrap CSS, and our own custom style CSS. In JS we have bootstrap min.js and jQuery JS. We have an index.jsp. basically we are just using some bootstrap and just showing some messages. Inside the web INF I'm having web.xml where we have a Spring security configuration file location configuration here. Then we have a context loader listener, Spring security filter delegation filter proxy we have configured here, Spring MVC configuration here. And so what we are saying, any URL comes here with /do or star.do or /rest, it gonna intercepted by dispatcher servlet. And then here we have a index.jsp configuration, it's a welcome file page. Once we get into resources, in the resources we have application context.xml where we have just define any inside properties, any of the properties is there, it's gonna load that thing. We have a component scan here like repository, any class annotated with repository, controller, services, component, and these two are my custom annotation like manager and REST web services. This application was done when Spring Boot doesn't give us a REST web service. That time I have to start creating that REST web service annotation just to segregate controller and REST service. And here we are just importing all the other configuration like security, web related, data source, and persistence related configurations. we are just importing into this file. So let's, and we have a properties here, application property, database property, and Hibernate property. Here we have a SQL script. Basically it's just dropping statement and then create statement and then followed by insert statement here. So it will seed the database. So, and we have a log back.xml where we have a console appender, rolling file appender, and bunch of configurations here. So let's go to web.xml where we have enabled the annotation configuration, and we have mentioned that anything inside the static will be a resources. This is a converter, message converter basically. So I'll come back to that. And then we have a view resolver here, and we have a JSON view support factory bean. This is our own custom class. So basically I'm having my own custom converter, so I just want to add that custom converter also. And this is API object mapper. This is our own custom mapper. So we'll just go to one by one, but before that let's get into the data source. So in the data source we have C3P0 data source pool, where we are just reading pool size, minimum, max, acquire, increment, and then threads and all this other configuration. Other than that we have a data source driver class, then host name, port name, and all, which creates a URL basically here. And then we have username and password. So all this configuration it is reading from this property file. So where we have a URL, host name, port name, database name, and username, password, and other configurations. Then we have Hibernate persistence.xml where we have a data source initializer. So it's gonna go to this SQL location and read this SQL script file and then execute it. If any exceptions are there, it's gonna ignore that. Then Hibernate package to scan for entity is inside the persistence, go into this entity. These are the entity classes for me. And we have a local session factory bean configuration here, where we are injecting a data source Hibernate package to scan, and default Hibernate properties, which are this. So these Hibernate property like HPM, DDL, auto, batch file, scrollable, dilate. Then we have EH cache related things, show SQL, format SQL, generate statistics, and all these configurations are reading from this hibernate.property file basically. These are the configurations here. Then we have a transaction manager here, where we are injecting a session factory and then we are just proxying it by transaction manager here. So let's get into the security.xml where we have just enabled the secured annotation, then pre-post annotation, access decision manager here. Then we have mentioned that anything comes like index.jsp, IOC, CSS, JS images should not be intercepted as a part of Spring Security. Then we have a HTTP tag where we have said that anything with the /rest gonna be come and evaluated here inside this HTTP, where we have a API server authentication entry point, where we have mentioned the expressions are used, auto configuration fall, this will be stateless because this are restful. And then CSRF we have disabled basically. Then what we have done, we have just replaced the login form filter with our own custom filter, which is authentication token processing filter. And then we are saying that any request with a /rest/authenticate/login should be given all permit, and other than that any request with the /rest/** should at least have user super admin or user role. Then we have a rest/logout is a logout URL for that, and then we have access denied handler here. So this is authentication token processing filter configuration here, where we are injecting a authentication manager. So I'll just hold on for a second here and then I'll go into the Java classes. So inside the package comd Spark Adarsh, we have a core where we have a custom annotation like manager, and we have a response view as our own custom annotation, and where value will be part of any class we should have, which is extending from base view. And this is a RESTful web services. So these three are our own custom annotations here. And we have a bean like view related bean. This is authentication view, extend from base view, department view, employee detail view, employee view. So these are the views which we have created here. Then we have a API server view bean. So in this class you can see that JSON view annotation is kept here, and I'm saying that and whenever I'll say authentication, whenever my controller is returning authentication view, all these properties will be part of the JSON. So API server view bean class, and order is arranged in this way. JSON property name will be like this, and set a bunch of setter and getter. Then we have a department view where we have, so this department view is shared between employee detail view and department view itself. So whenever any response, and whenever the REST method is returning a view of employee detail, this property will be a part of JSON, and if any REST endpoint is returning department view, then this department ID will be part of the JSON view. Same thing for employee view bean, where we have JSON view, employee detail view, or employee view. So like that, this bean class is shared wherever we have annotations like this. So let's get into the web services like employee. Here you can see here list of employee view bean, and response view will be employee view. Response view will be employee view. Here you can see, so employee detail view. So if you see employee view, employee detail view is there. Department view, here you can department view bean, so employee detail view, department view, like this. So whenever I'm specifying in the controller that response view will be this class, so anywhere whatever the bean I'm returning, employee view bean, any property which is annotated with this will be part of the JSON. Like that we have customized this. So we have certain util like date util basically. Then in the persistence we have employee entity which has employee ID, employee name, date of joining, departments. Then we have a department entity where we have a department ID, department name, department location. We have a user entity where we have ID, username, email, password, enable, first name, last name, date of birth, phone number, role associated with the role with many to many relationship. And we have a role entity where we have ID, name, and it has association with the user table. We have a repository here, like we have a user repository where we have save user, get user by ID, and lot of other methods. We have an implementation here for that repository. Same thing, we have a role repository here. We have role, get by name, save user, role, and all these things. And then we have an implementation for that. So what we have done, we have just injected a session factory here, and from the session we are just creating a criteria and other things, and same thing we are doing. So we have an employee repository where we are saying get employee by, get all employee, or get employee by ID, and we have an implementation for both the methods. We have a department where we have saying department by name or department by ID. We have an implementation for that. So this is how the persistence layer looks like and code layer look like. In the web layer, what we have a manager where employee manager. In the employee manager we are injecting a employee repository and a department repository, and then we have a get all employee, get employee, get all department, get department, all these methods. We have a user manager where we have get all user, get user by example, put user, get user by ID, insert user, get user, and all these methods, and there's implementation basically. So what we have done, we are injecting a user repository and role repository, and we are using those things. Then in the presentation we have this is just to enable that customization. So we have a converter here, extend from mapping Jackson mapping to HTTP converter, we are saying that anything with the data view, if anything is an instance of data view, should be written right as a view. Okay, so here we have a write an internal method where we are checking anything which is instance of data view, so it will be write as a view. Otherwise super dot write view is basically a custom implementation where we are just saying we are just converting using our own custom things here. The way we are the way default way of writing, that is write internal for the super, but we have customized that thing for our requirement. So that's how we have customized. So what we have done, we have just getting the output message header encoding, and after encoding we are saying get writer for the view. Basically we'll get the writer, particular writer, and then with the view we are writing the messages and all. And we have a handler here. So this handler basically implement handler method. So in this is our own custom handler. So basically what it does, response view annotation, anything which is having a response view annotation, any methods, this, so it gonna handle that, and according to that response view, this will change the way of writing JSON bean into JSON. So this any method annotated with the response view, it will be treated separately by our own custom handler. And because of this employee view, we have a certain our own custom mechanism where it will pick up all the properties annotated with that and create a JSON out of that and send back to the client. So we have a mapper here, API object mapper. Basically this is a date serializer we have added. We have a date serializer here. We have a views here basically. So this is a view factory. So what we have done, this is our own custom. This is a request mapping handler, because if we want to handle this annotation, so we need a custom handler to be part of that predefined handler list. What we have done, we have injected a request mapping handler adapter here, and with the handler adapter we are just creating our own view injecting handler. This is our instance of our own custom handler, and we are just adding that handler into the predefined list and then setting it. So what will happen ultimately, whenever the list of handler will be searched to handle that particular annotation, our handler will find and it gonna handle the that custom annotation what we have. Then we have a view where we have a base view, then we have a data view. This is a data view, so that's why we in the configuration anything instance of data view. We have a Pojo view, so Pojo view is an instance of data view basically. So let's get into the security part where we have access denied handler. If we are trying to access anything which is unauthorized, so access denied handler gonna execute entry point where it will check for every request and mark it as unauthorized, and then Spring Security will take up that with the help of exception translation. So this gonna say that this is unauthorized and exception will be generated, and exception translator filter gonna execute, and Spring will take care of that thing. Authentication token processing filter, this is our own custom filter where we have a token provider, authentication manager, encoder, security context provider, web authentication details source, and this is a constructor where we are passing a authentication manager. In the do filter, what we are doing, we are checking whether the request contain token, whether the request contain authentication token header or not. If it contain, it will take out the token, and if it is not, then this gonna, it will check for this. Obviously token will be null, and then this gonna be executed. If token, we found the token into the first time when the request comes to the server without that, so what will happen, that request will be /authenticate/login. This is gonna be a request to get the login. So permit also, that request will not come inside this, it gonna go directly to the controller. So what this controller does, basically request will come here slash login, and then in this map we'll get the data username password, and we'll get the username password by using user manager. We'll get the user. We will validate the user once use, because what we have done, get user by username and password. So we are getting a user. If we got the user, then it means user is valid. Then if we didn't get the user, if any exceptions there, we'll say login unsuccessful. In case like we don't have database table and something, if user is not equal to null, then what we are doing, we are just creating a token, username password authentication token. We are just, by using authentication manager, we are just authenticating the authenticating the current user and setting into the context. If result is true after authentication, because what it does, basically it uses the providers, and provider internally fetch the user, fetch the data of user and password from the database, and cross authenticate that thing. So if result is true, we'll get the user. So we are setting the username password into user object, and then we are sending it to token provider. So what token provider does, based on this user, it's gonna create a token. That token we are keeping inside the API server bean, basically here. And in the API server bean, we are putting on the data login is successful. If user is not equal to null, then then it means that we have a valid user. If user is null, then we don't have valid user, and we are returning unsuccessful. If it is a valid, we are saying successful, and we are setting a token and all. And here if you see, we are returning a API server view bean, basically. So here we have an authentication view. So if you see here, if you see that authentication view, so API server view is having authentication view in it. So all these properties which are marked as authentication view will be part of this JSON, basically. And we have a mapping where we have saying that this is a URL, this is a method, this is a response view class, response body will be this. So it will go, what it does, basically go into this class and check for this annotations. Any property which is marked with this annotation should be part of this response. So that's how it works, basically. So let's get into the token provider, where we have suppose we this is the second time we are getting a token. So we'll get we are making a request after. So first time when we'll make a request, it will not come here, it will go to controller, we'll set the token and all, and we'll return back to the client. Then next time client will set a token with in the header, and send the request back to the controller, so where we will get the token here. So in this we'll say token not equal to null, and then we'll say token provider dot is valid token. Once token is valid, we'll get that user object from the token, and we are saying authenticate user. So basically what we are doing, we are just creating a user password authentication token instance by setting username password. We are saying we are just setting a web authentication detail source build request, because this request we need to preserve. Once authentication is done, on the same requested URL we need to send the request. Then in the context, what we are doing, we are setting authentication. So once we say authentication manager dot authenticate, passing this authentication, it call the provider, basically authentication there should be a provider, REST API token provider. So this gonna be called, and here we'll get the authentication token. So by this token we'll get the user object, and again we'll use a user manager, get the user object from that. And if it is if it is not valid, we'll throw an exception. Otherwise what we'll do, for that user, whatever the roles we have, we'll just convert into the authorities, and then create a user detail, Spring user detail object, and set it in and return that user detail. So that user detail will be set in the Spring context, basically. And then again we'll say chain.do filter. So let's come back here. So here we have already I have explained all these configurations. For logout, this is a configuration we have. Authentication token processing filter, we already seen that. Access denied handler, we already seen. REST authentication success handler. So basically what will happen once the authentication is success, just gonna execute and it gonna send a request to this URL. So we have a REST authentication success handler basically, so which gonna return the login message and all login success and clear the attribute from the request object. Then we have a failure handler. Basically if REST authentication is failed, so we need to send the appropriate message that authentication is not successful or bad credential exception something. Then we have authentication decision manager. So what we have done, for any role I don't want to prefix anything role underscore super admin or like that while comparison, so that's why I have make it here as a empty. So in the DB script, if you see, okay, I have just made it empty, so while comparison it will not consider anything. Whatever there is in the DB, whatever there is configured in this, it will match each other the same. Then we have provider configuration, basically exception translation filter. So exception translation filter, we have injected a authentication entry point, so any exception happens here, exception translation filter gonna execute. And we have a authentication manager which takes a DO authentication provider and REST authentication provider basically. DO authentication provider, I need to remove that, I guess, if I have not removed. We have alias the authentication manager, and this is a DO authentication manager basically. So what it does basically, it will check first authentication DO authentication provider and then go for the REST API authentication provider. So what we have done, we have just injected a user detail service and encoding for the password MD5. This is the MD5 configuration here basically. So we have gone through authentication token processing, custom user detail service, which basically this is not in use now. We can remove all those things. REST API authentication provider, which is used. Logout success handler, security context, basically just to get the security context. Token provider service, which basically create a token and validate the token and all. And we have a user detail IMPL, which is just to convert our own entity into the Spring required user detail service. Now we'll get into the employee controller basically. So in the employee controller, we have /employee, where we have get all the employees, will returning a list of employee bean and response body for this. And then we have a get employee summary, where we have a response view where employee, so we are returning a list of employee view bean, and where we have a employee detail view. So if you see employee, so okay, employee view, so somewhere employee view should be there. So in this we should have something, employee detail view, employee view. This is, so these all employee view, employee view, employee view, employee view. So all wherever we can see employee view, so all this property will be part of the JSON from this. So like that, same employee data, where we have employee view, we are returning employee view bean. Like that we have a lot of things here. So basically the change is that the response view, it has this this class annotation class. So this annotation class is configured in employee view bean, so we can go into that and we can get this thing. So that will be part of that JSON. So we have a department. So basically by this complicated method, what we are doing, we are sharing a same bean class across multiple responses just by annotating. So I suppose I for one view I want we suppose take example, we have a bean class where we have a 10 properties into the bean. So in my first REST service I want all the 10. In my second REST service I want only 5, and I want only 6, and 4 I don't want. In I am having another REST service where I want 4 which is not used earlier, only those 4. So I can just use the same bean class across all the REST endpoints just by segregating, by annotating with our own custom annotations and all. So same thing I have done for the department also. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna build this code first. MVN clean package. So once this is done, I'm gonna show you the execution. So we have help.txt here basically. So build is successful. MVN jt:/run. So this is a welcome page. So one thing which I have not told you about web configurations, where we have our own view converter, where we have our own custom mappers, API object mapper, and then we have our own custom factory where we need to include our own custom handler. So I have covered all the bean configurations here. So okay, let's push this. I need a postman also here. So this is a view. So in the postman I need to so was sorted, and let's see in the postman. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just copy paste this URL, the postman. I'm gonna say post header is equal to content type application -json, and body I want a raw body where I can send a JSON. So this is the response. So I'm gonna get another. So in the response, if you see, I'm getting a username, password, token, login successful, response status. Now I'm going to hit another API. This will be a GET request, and I need to copy authentication token header here, and this token I can copy it from this place, and I can say send request. So here I am getting a department employee information, and if I just hit the same, this is a login. So I just, because same token I can use it, so once I say it, so it's a logout successful. So folks, that's how we can do this type of customization for the JSON view and all. So I'm gonna save this code to my GitHub repository, which is Adarsh Kumar Singh. 83 slash spring underscore security. So my all earlier applications are already I have pushed into the same repository. So if you I hope this will help you to understand the customization, and please do subscribe my channel and share your views and all. So I'll come up with something else new interesting one. Till then, take care. Bye.